The only way you can begin to find out who you are is if you start asking, and if you start listening to yourself just as much as you listen to everybody else. If you don't know who you are, then somebody will define you for you. So define yourself, know who you are, because whether or not the people around you intend to do it, if you don't have a firm grasp of who you are, who you want to be, who you feel like you should be, then you will inevitably be shaped by somebody else's vision of you for you. It could be projection, it could be good intentions, it could be straight manipulation. It doesn't matter. What matters is that if you really don't have even the slightest grasp of who you are or who you aim to be, you will end up being a product of somebody else's definition of you, being somebody else's concoction of your character, or what your character is supposed to be. So be careful. Even when you think that you've already defined yourself, be open to the idea that you might be wrong, or to the idea that it might change. You might be right now, but tomorrow or next year, your answer might not be the same. Hi, before this rabbit hole gets any deeper, I just remembered to record this. Please consider liking, and if you're new here, subscribing, and comment down below on your thoughts. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Nicholas. We talk about life, art, love, music, and advice, and becoming a better person and living a better life. So if that all sounds good to you, stick around. Would love to have you here. Now, on to the rest of the video. Sometimes we are so open to everybody else's input that we forget to be open to hear our own. As social creatures, as humans, as people who love to love and love to be loved, we are so vulnerable by being so open to what everybody else has to say, or what we think everybody else has to say, that we factor in their opinions so heavily without factoring our own. And when we do, sometimes there's a protest inside of us that feels like, oh, this is wrong, like this feels egotistical, why should I listen to what I have to say? And now that I'm wording it this way, it sounds silly, doesn't it? It sounds a bit silly to think that you would disregard yourself, when you're the one directly feeling your feelings, you're the one who has directly lived your life, you're the one who will directly die in your body, and you're the one that directly thinks within your brain. Why should you disregard yourself? I'm not encouraging you to completely isolate, to disregard what everybody else has to think. To a significant degree, people's opinions do matter. They might see things that you don't see, positive and negative. We are limited to our own brains, so being open to at least consider somebody else's brain, somebody else's very different and very unique brain that is as unique as our own, is important. But that's, again, the thing. Your brain is unique too. For as much as their opinions might be right, or for as much as they might mean well for you, still consider yourself. Still try to define yourself and what you stand for and why. What are your intentions? What are your goals? What are your dreams? What do you want? If you don't define the things that you want, or who you want to be, or who you are, you will become a projection of somebody else's dream, or as an extension of somebody else. Be very careful, because again, you will become an avatar or a conduit for somebody to vicariously live through. Sometimes it's really difficult to assess whether somebody is being kind, caring, or manipulative, or unintentionally doing the manipulation because they think or they want or they're doing their best to be kind and caring. There's a lot of gaps in people's intentions, people's actions, and the ways that it affects us. For some of you, it might be parents that mean well, that want the best for you, but they don't actually understand you, so they want you to go to a direction that you do not at all feel any interest in pursuing. There's a misalignment there. But if you don't know what you want, you don't actually know who you are, or you don't know how to stand up for who you are and what you want, you will inevitably end up being steered and pushed around and commandeered and maneuvered towards directions by people that are not you, that do not understand you as well as you could. That's the thing, is that you could understand yourself better, but you should ask yourself, do you really? The concept of standing up for yourself is very difficult to do when you don't know yourself, because then who are you standing up for? If you don't know who you are, do not fall for it. Do not fall for what they are trying to feed you if you really don't agree with it, if it's really not for you. It's easier to be able to tell when you're being steered a direction that you do not align with when you know the direction that you do. It's easier to know when something is not for you when you know the things that are. It's easier to pick people in your life that you want to keep that are good for you when you know what isn't, when you know who isn't. The more you define things, the easier things become to navigate. And again, don't close yourself off to change. Don't close yourself off to the general concept of being open. But remember to be open to yourself. It's as simple as that. Listen to you. For as much as you listen to everybody else's voices, including mine, listen to yourself. You don't have to agree with everybody all the time. You don't have to agree with me all the time. Take in what is out there, but process it within yourself and base it on the way that you think and the way that you process how you feel and where you are. Because we all come from different places, different mindsets, and we all feel emotions differently. What I have to say will not be one-to-one for you. What somebody else wants for you will not be one-to-one with what you actually want, with what you actually care about. But okay, how do you identify what is true to you? How do I identify what you actually want? It's not easy, and it takes time, and it takes effort, and it is not sexy, because all it is taking time to think, to look within, to have conversations with yourself. And I chuckle at the thought of suggesting this because it's so basic, right? But it's basic for a reason. It's common knowledge for a reason. It's a common thing to say. It's because it works. Why do you think so many people meditate? Why do you think so many people pray? Why do you think so many people journal? It's a way to look within. It's a way to pause. It's a way to take things in. It's a way to assess your beliefs, your worldviews, how you see yourself within the world. And generally speaking, regardless of your belief system, philosophy, religion, whatever else in between, looking within is an important factor in defining yourself, in defining your life, in knowing where you are and where you're going. You need to ask yourself the questions that feel uncomfortable, and sometimes that's going to hurt. Sometimes, actually a lot of the time, you're not going to arrive at an immediate answer, but you will never arrive at an answer if you never begin. At least begin to ask yourself, even just the most basic questions that you might just toss out the window because it's such an easy thing to answer. It's not, and you can keep digging even if it is. Who are you? What do you care about? Why are you doing what you're doing? What opinions do you actually agree with? What kind of beliefs do you have compared to the beliefs that you've been told to believe? What are your dreams compared to the dreams that have been put upon you? What do you expect of yourself compared to the expectations that you feel have been levied upon you by external forces? Literally anything that involves people or is governed by people, which is like pretty much everything in our lives, they will inevitably have influence over you. That's culture, that's society, that's politics, that's religion, philosophy, media, everything has an influence around you. But you don't take everything equally, do you? You don't subscribe to everything that's being said to you. That's your discernment, ultimately. What do you stick with? Where do your values align? And the more you define that, the more you dig in. And the more you dig into that, the more that you define it. And the more you solidify. Open yourself up to those opposing beliefs and those opposing thoughts. Challenge yourself, because if your beliefs continue to push through those challenges, then you're strengthening those beliefs. And the things that break down or fall to the wayside were never going to stick once you put them through that scrutiny anyway. And whatever makes it through those filters, those challenges, those questions, when you dig in, are the things that are closer to your core, whatever that may be. As much as this might be difficult to do, because it sounds discouraging, it's time consuming, it's a lot of work within yourself. It's a lot of uncertain questions with uncertain answers that you don't know if it's even going to be fruitful after you invest all of that. Think about the reverse. What happens for the rest of your life if you don't define yourself, if you don't stand up for yourself? You become somebody that is for somebody else. You become something for someone else. And I don't want you to be one of those. I don't want you to get lost in the sauce of everything in life that you can no longer find yourself. I don't want you to be defined by so many external forces without you being given the chance to do it for yourself, without you giving yourself the chance to do it for yourself. As you get more comfortable with having conversations with yourself, take 5 minutes every day, and if you can, increase the time over time. As you get more comfortable sitting in the silence and thinking about life, as you get more comfortable as you unwind after a long day, there will always be a list of wins, and there will always be a list of losses, big or small, each and every day. The highlights, the lowlights, the wins, the losses. There will be a list of things that you liked more than others. There will be a list of things that you want and that you don't. Continue to assess those things so that you can continue to define yourself. And the more that you do that, the more you become your own unique, genuine person. And the more that you become and strong to resist external forces trying to mold you, to bend you, to shape you, to manipulate you into something that you are truly not. The only way you can begin to find out who you are is if you start asking, and if you start listening to yourself just as much as you listen to everybody else. Do not forget yourself. In the midst of all the chaos in life, in all the struggles that you face, in all the things that you take in, good and bad, in all the people that you have in your life, do not let go of yourself. Have the strength so that nobody can steal you for themselves. Allow people to be in your life. Give them space to occupy. Care for the people in your life. But do not sell yourself out, because once you lose yourself, you will never be able to truly give your best to the people in your life that you would want to, that you feel like deserve to have you at your fullest. If you've already lost yourself, then you don't have yourself to give. So even if you're coming from the most selfless of perspectives, you still have to take care of yourself. You still have to know yourself, and you still should give space for yourself in your own life. This was a bit intense. I did not script any of this. This just came to mind and I was like, I should record that on my phone. And then I realized that, you know what? I'm setting up lights anyway. I might as well record it on my camera. So I hope that this helps. I hope that this encourages you. I hope that I didn't accidentally encourage you to be a selfish little prick. I just want you to have the strength to be there for yourself and the self-assurance to know who you are, so that when you're challenged, you can stand up to that challenge. And when you're pushed, you don't immediately fall down to the ground. So again, I hope this helps. Genuinely, I'm very passionate about this, clearly. And if you're connected, leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe, share this with somebody that you think could benefit from this. Once again, my name is Nicholas. Hope to hear from you and see you in the next video. Cheers.